Hi, Tony Selzer here. Welcome to Line. We've got another great technology company that's really focused in this B2B space and helping apply technology to problems that have been around for literally 30 years. And the big problem that GitPrime is going after is how do you understand which is that one engineer that Steve Jobs used to talk about that was worth the seven, right? What is the key players that are going to bring that innovation and that developmental progress that's going to advance your product to a whole nother level in understanding how to manage those resources and give feedback to them to get better. So talk to me, Travis, on how GitPrime came about. What was the idea that gestated made this vision a reality?
So thanks. Like all good products, this was born out of personal necessity. Back in the day, I was leading an engineering team and found that as we scaled up from 5 to 7 people into more like 15 to 20 people and we're growing the team, it was really hard to get that intuitive feel for what everyone was working on. So started hacking on an app, and then it just sort of grew from there.
Yeah. So I always love the stories where the users created the product that they would buy. I mean, that is such a good recipe to find and build disruptive technology, right? That's really solving the problem you have is the way to create the breakthroughs that are going to change the market. And oddly enough, no one has turned software engineering, as you so eloquently put it, on itself, using the data to manage the people creating the product. What are some of the changes you've seen with the customers that you've gone to market with? What are insights are they getting about managing their people?
So we like to think of this as Moneyball for software teams, where you can easily look at how to build an effective team. So that Moneyball metaphor is about finding the players who can be most effective and putting them in a place that they fit. Engineering, one of the most quantified industries in the world, right? We create more metadata than anyone else, and yet in the entire history of software engineering, we really haven't spent much time looking at that data. So that's where we come in. You plug in the actual code base, you take your hosted Git repository, plug that in to our app, and then within an hour, we give you real insights that can supercharge your dev team.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you identified early is like there becomes a law of numbers in management here where your tool really becomes a good fit. You know, 1 to 5 people, you can really, I think 6 is like the direct report ratio we're supposed to have. You can track how someone's doing. You can, through the personal relationship, you can start to see, you know, what kind of results they're creating, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses, and coach to that. But when you're managing teams, and especially teams that are remote, and those teams start to get working on projects where there's 10, 15, 20, 100, 300 people working on these initiatives, you can really lose track an understanding of who's making what impact and where. And that's one of the things that your tool really gives visualization to, insight to, and helps the manager of those people really get their arms around those resources. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely accurate. So if you can imagine running an engineering team, you know, as a CTO, a VP of engineering, something like that, where you may have 50, 100 developers. And what often happens is you'll need to find the right 5 to 10 for a particular project. That can be very difficult. As you suggested, proactive monitoring, knowing if someone gets stuck for a few days on a team that size, it's just very difficult to do. That personal touch that you have with around 6 direct reports, as you scale up, there's just a lot of cognitive overhead there. So we're looking to help with that.
Yeah. And one of the things that I would argue is think about the ROI here. I mean, using the software to make a resource as expensive as an engineering resource. I mean, you know, if you're on the coast, you're at least 6 figures, and then you load the cost. If you're in the Midwest, you might be slightly less than the 6 figures, but when you load the cost, you're at 6 figures per resource. You don't need a lot of management effect impact here to justify using your platform in order to create the result. The ROI is a pretty clean math, isn't it?
It's pretty great. And to think about a specific example there, which is kind of fun, I don't know if you've ever been involved with these retrospectives. So at the end of a cycle, people will, you'll get together and sort of talk about what happened. Now, if you have a team of 15, your burn rate on that is pretty high. And a lot of those engineers would rather be off building stuff than talking this over. You know, the three answers that come up is we need to have better specs, we need to have better estimates, and we shouldn't break stuff. That's kind of the theme of this retrospective. Now, they're kind of all the same, and they're not really data-based. It's all just a bunch of people talking about how to do better. So what we've done is we have another report we're about to launch that gives all the data behind that. How specifically were we doing? How much of our time was efficient? How productive were we? And that's all quantified. So we take something that costs about $50,000 a year for a team that size and make it actually useful.
Yeah. Powerful. It's a powerful play, man. GitPrime, live in the vision of actually getting a software project to end on time and under budget. Way to take a hack at it, man. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to go. If you have a repository out there, go try it. Our site, again, is http://gitprime.com. If you go there and sign up, within an hour, you'll get some real insights about your team. Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you. All right, buddy.